So far we've met a lot of single people and couples who are living in tiny houses, but one of the largest demographics of people who are now moving into tiny homes is actually young families. So how does a family make living in such a small tiny house actually work? Today we're going to find out. Hi Francois, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Hi Sarah-lee, lovely to meet you.
Likewise.
And how special to be here in your beautiful tiny house.
Yes, thanks for coming.
So how long have you actually been living in this home now?
So we've been living here since June last year.
Nearly a year.
Yeah, nearly a year pretty much. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's really interesting to me about this tiny house is that you actually live here as a family of 5, don't you?
Yeah, that's 5 of us in 21 square meter.
It's a little bit brave moving with 3 young kids into a tiny house this size. How does that work for you?
It works really well. We've always been quite a tight family. The kids are good together and there's no big fights between them. So I guess being closer together cultivate that behavior that have them working as a team better.
And what was it that originally inspired you to move into a tiny house?
We've lived in smaller spaces before, but that's definitely the smallest space we've been in with the most kids we have so far. And we were living in a bigger villa before to move here. And then we already own that land because I've got my workshop here on the site. So we thought, I didn't want to pay another $450 a week on rent or trying to get another mortgage. So we thought let's just be resourceful.
And it is a very interesting property that we're on right now.
Yeah, you see lots of tiny houses in beautiful idyllic settings or set back. Here we're really open and really exposed, but this is also our workshop. This is also our business. So it offers the average Joe a real look into tiny house living.
And can you tell me about the design of your home?
So yeah, the design, so this one is 7.2 meter long by 3 meters wide. And instead of most tiny houses are already a narrow space, so when you put things against the long wall, you end up with a little hallway in the middle. So here what we did, we've pushed rooms and kitchen at the end of the tiny house to end up with as much free space on the floor in the middle, have a more feel of having room actually, yeah.
And can you tell me about the materials that you've used on the exterior here?
We've used New Zealand grown cedar for the cladding, and then color steel for roofing and the back wall as well. And the windows, we've made the windows out of American red cedar.
Beautiful. So you made the joinery in this one yourself?
Yeah. The good thing with a tiny house, you can really have fun with the design, and that's the same with the windows. You can actually have a window which will fit the purpose and the space exactly how you want. So making the windows just makes sense for a tiny house. You don't have many windows, so you can make every window special.
I really love that philosophy because that to me really embodies what tiny homes are about. Sort of minimizing the amount that we consume, but maximizing the quality of those things that goes into it.
Yeah, so our big window acts as an indoor or an outdoor seat. And in summer, it's just an open pathway, which creates more indoor-outdoor flow.
Well, I would love to have a look inside the house and see what you've done.
Yeah, sure, have a look.
Thank you. What a beautiful home. I can really see what you mean about how pushing things to the end of the house has really helped to open up this central space.
Plus with the gable roof shape, it gives that sense of everything in the middle goes higher in the middle, and then in the middle of the space of the floor plan, you've got more room as well, so it really opens up the space here.
One of the things that I really like about it as well is how you've used sort of the homogeneous materials to sort of carry everything through and make it all look as if almost the cabinetry is also part of the wall system.
Yeah, using the same material, same color means your eye has less reference, or there is at least less part that stick out from the wall. That makes the space feel smaller. It can all blends in and it's harder to get the sense of perspective and depth, so it just feels more open. Yeah.
So can you tell me just a little bit about the functionality of this space and what it's like to live in here?
So yeah, we've got a kitchen here, straight kitchen, and then we've got the dining table which is set all the time, and we can fit just the 5 of us around it. Then we've got a small couch, and at the other end we've got the kids' bunk room and the bathroom, and a mezzanine on top for us.
Now, one of the things that I do notice is that for a family of 5, there's not a whole lot of lounging space.
We still managed to fit all of us at the end of the day to watch a little documentary if we want. There's one on my lap and one on Sarah-lee's laps. And
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it works.
And then you have this gorgeous fireplace here as well.
Yeah, it's kind of oversized, and it gets really hot if we use it like a normal fireplace. So we just have to put a few sticks at a time. Yeah.
And then down this end, you've got all this really nice open shelving.
Yeah, this is a really practical space where we can personalize our home, and it acts as storage, and it's a communal space, so it reflects the children's values and importance and enjoyment as well as ours.
This is a very small home for a family of 5. How do you cope with storage of clothes and toys and all of that sort of stuff?
So tiny house dwelling is really personal. Everyone does it differently, right? For us it works because we have a tiny house and we have large workshops. And within the workshops we've got one workshop which is designated as a craft room for the children. So the children have they have drawers in here. They have one drawer each, but they're really deep. So, and the children constantly go through here and sort out all of their gear, but this is more than enough. And then, you know, per season they'll swap over, and clothes they don't need anymore will go to the op shop or hand-me-downs, etc. Upstairs, Francois and I are very minimal, and so we just have a big open basket upstairs.
You always end up wearing the same things anyway, if you really look at it.
Most people do.
You got your practical everyday clothes that you use during the week, and then in the weekend you've got your favorite pieces of garment, and so you can pretty much live with not much at all. Yeah.
And looking in here, it is so clever how you've done those kids' bunks, the way that all 3 are stacked on top of one another.
Yeah, because that was, we've managed to fit 3 kids in a box of 2 meter by 2 meter by 2 meters. So the way we've done it is we still wanted them to have enough headspace, because if you are too close from the ceiling, it doesn't feel very comfortable. So their legs is overlapping just with the minimum, but then they still have, each of them have enough headspace and a little light if they want to read.
So one of the tricks to allowing that extra little room for the headspace is there's a step down. So you step down and that offers you an extra 150 mil, but yeah, there's more than enough room for us to sit, even Francois and I, you know, headroom on these 2. It's just the top one that Francois and I can't sit fully, but the kids can.
And how do the kids enjoy being in their room?
They really love the rooms, and they will definitely, at the end of the night, in the morning, there will definitely be 2 of them at least in the same bed. Sometimes you have the 3 kids in one bed. So, yeah.
And then they all pile up about 6 a.m. They all start to climb the ladder, and they all end up in our bed.
That's one thing that tiny house offers, because it's a small space and everything is kind of in connection, every space. That means in the morning I can be in bed having a cuddle with the kids while Sarah-lee is making coffee. Then when the coffee is made, she just drop it on the little shelf here, and you are always together. And some people might not want to be always together, but for us we want to be together anyway, so it works really well. Well, I think it's exactly the same as living in a big house with 3 young children.
Yeah, it's just condensed.
Yeah, just a bit more condensed.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't solve. You know, they are noisy, they play, except when they play in a tiny house, they use all the floor space. But the good thing is, as much as a tiny house or a small space is quickly used and a bit messy, if there's toys around, it's also very fast to tidy up.
And we homeschool as well, so a part of our learning from home is incorporating our children in everything we do. So if we cook together. If we clean together, and it's much easier to do when you are doing it together and you're always with them here. That's one of the beautiful things, is that we are sharing everyday life constantly. And the bathroom is just through here. We also call it the children's ensuite.
That is a lovely sized room, isn't it?
Yeah. It works, you know, it's a really functional space. You've got someone to clean, and you've got a bathroom, and you've got a sink. I mean, what else do you need? And how much time do we actually spend in a bathroom? It's one of those spaces that you're in and you're out. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't need to be huge.
Absolutely. I really like the way that you built the composting toilet in there too.
Yeah, we had no access to town sewage, and putting a septic tank would have been quite expensive. So we decided, well, one way of not having black water coming out was to have a composting toilet. So we had to make it fit within the space of the small bathroom. Yeah.
So what about the cost of this tiny house?
So just for material only, not considering labor, we spent about probably 45k on material. Yeah.
And you've got a lot of really high quality material that's gone into constructing this, and you can see it's all been wonderfully put together.
Yeah, well, it's one thing good with tiny houses, you don't have to service 20 windows and 200 square meter of flooring. So when you buy one item, if it costs an extra $10 per square meter, it's not going to bring the bill by $1,000 up. So you can afford to get better material.
You can go for quality over quantity.
And then out here as well, you've actually built another tiny house for your parents, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, because my parents come pretty much every year, so they need somewhere to stay, but they can't stay with us. So we built them a small tiny house, yeah.
Very handy, especially as this one is definitely occupied, having a guest suite as well, isn't it?
It's quite convenient, yeah. We've got our friends coming from Auckland next week, and they will just stay in the spare tiny house.
Excellent. Can we go have a look at that one?
Yeah.
All right. So what size is this one?
This one is 5 meters long by 2.5 meters wide, and yeah, the maximum height 4.2.
And I love the way that this one just opens out from the end into the garden.
We always try to, especially when we build tiny houses for us, we can take risk and make things a bit unusual. So the idea was to have the whole end with glass on this one.
And can you tell me a little bit about how you've actually designed this one?
We've used the same idea of the previous one, which was to push things at the ends instead of the sides of the tiny house. So we've got the small bathroom at the back with a kitchenette, mezzanine on top, and then just open space.
So what do you think the future will hold for you both now?
We'll probably be moved to a mansion of maybe 60 or 80 square meters at some point. Yeah, because the kids are getting older, and our oldest one is going to be 9, and she's asking, can I have my own room? So that'd be fair for her to have her own space.
Yeah.
And tiny houses is just another option as a living space. And people will say, oh, but tiny house is not going to cater for a family of 5 forever. And I say, yes, you're right. But a 3-bedroom house doesn't cater for a single person neither. So it's just adapting your living space to the need you've got at the time, make it work the best. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have to get that big mortgage in your mid-20s or early 30s, then as a couple, as a family, you can afford to have one parent not having to work full-time to have to pay that mortgage. And that has a massive impact. Small living or more affordable living doesn't just have an economical impact. It has a massive social impact for the younger generation. So for us, that means you can have one parent with the children more. And that will be definitely to a great benefit to their well-being.
Your biggest asset that you have is your time with your family, to grow together, to do life together. And the more that you share together, the stronger you are. It's best to invest. And for us, we've chosen that pathway, and it's brought much peace and happiness.
Well, I think as a starting point, you guys have created something truly special here. It is fascinating to me to see the way that you've actually made the space work so well for such a large family. Thank you so much for sharing your home with me.
Good.
Thanks, Chris.
By living in a tiny house, this family may have sacrificed the size of their home, but they certainly haven't sacrificed the quality of their lives together. One of the things that I love about this house is the way that it just encourages them to be together and nurtures those relationships. Coupled with some incredibly clever small space design to make it all work, this really is a wonderful family home.